Hello, everyone. My name's Darren Lutton. I'm one of the agents at SEQFC, and welcome to part one of this week's Look Finance SEQFC Preview Show, with thanks to our friend Vilic Law. And part one is a heck of a lot different this week. We're going to focus on the range, Toowoomba, Lockyer Valley, the Southwest Queensland competition. So it's the first time that we've been talking about this league, and really excited to bring you up to date with everything that's going on, especially with the Thunder teams going so well and Willowburn joining the Football Brisbane Capital 3 competition. Now, I've got two guests with me tonight. We have got Kris Hemmerling, who is the Technical Director at the Thunder. Good evening, Kris.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Very well, thank you. Very excited to see what we can chat about in the next 20 minutes or so.
I think we're very excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it should be great. And I've got Jason Hall with me, who's the Director of Football Performance, as well as many other hats at the Thunder. G'day, Jason. How's it going?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Darren.
Good stuff. All right, so let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the Southwest Queensland Thunder. We'll start with the FQPL and the men's competition. I said at the beginning of the year I thought they'd do well. I did not expect them to go this well. Jason, top of the league.
Yeah, no, look, it's been a great year for the boys. As I was saying pre-show, we've had a really great squad this year. The culture's been great. And the most impressive thing from us is, apart from our two visa players from Italy, the rest of the lads are all local boys. So it's really good to be showing the talent from Southwest Queensland actually performing, at a higher level. So looking forward to getting back into the NPL next year, hopefully.
Tell us about the Italian lads.
Yeah, two great lads, the best two visa players we've ever had. Probably exactly what we needed. First of all, our captain's Mirko Crociati. Mirko's a centre-back, has played at Inter Milan in their academy as a younger player. Very calm, very good influence on the team, does a lot of coaching on the field. He's only 24 himself, but he's been excellent. And then Pasquale De Vita, our number 10 attacking midfielder, actually played for Italy under 20 level. Had I think 3 games for Italy, so very, very good attacking player, and really adds another dimension to our attack. So they've been a great fit for the club. In fact, both of them are looking to permanently relocate here to Toowoomba and make it their home.
Outstanding resumes. How'd you score them?
Yeah, well, originally from Pasquale. Pasquale just sent me out his resume, like a lot of visa players do. I probably get, I don't know, 30 or 40 resumes a year from visa players. And when I saw he played for Italy, I didn't really think it was probably going to happen. And Ivor Prasad, our coach, his wife's Italian, so I said to Ivor, why don't you give him a call? And he called him and called me back about 2 hours later and said, can you send him a contract? He's in. So we got him on board. And then when Pasquale got here, he was in the country a couple of weeks later. When he was here, we said we were still looking for a second visa player and we're looking for a centre-back. And he'd played our season with Mirko. And so he made contact. And the next day we had Mirko on a plane. So it all happened very quickly. And yeah, look, but both of them have been fantastic.
Sensational. What fantastic additions to the competition. I get messages myself from African kids wanting to play for SEQFC, but not much we can do with the Facebook page.
That's good.
All right, so let's get back to your team. You've taking on South United this weekend. Now, if I was South, I'd be playing you guys on the synthetic turf, but you'll be playing on the grass field. Are you confident of another 3 points there?
Oh, look, well, I think we're quietly confident, but I mean, the standard in the FQPL has really been quite surprising and quite a good thing. Like the standard across the board, any team can just about beat any team on any given day. If you look at a club like Wynnum Wolves, they got smacked the first few games of the year, and now it would not surprise me if they made it up into the top 4 to be in the finals at the end of the season. So, South's down on 10th in the table at the moment, but they've had some good wins. They beat Ipswich Knights only a couple of weeks ago, and we only just got home against Knights on the weekend. So nothing comes for granted in this competition. But yeah, looking forward to it. We've actually played South obviously once in the competition this year and had a 5-2 win, but we played them as a mid pre-season game coming back from COVID as well in a trial game, had a fairly easy victory there. But they'd continue to improve. So I think the game will be a tough one.
The match against Knights last weekend, I know that when you played against the Pride, there was always just a little bit of spice in that one. Did you save any pepper for the guys?
No, it was a pretty tame game. I mean, obviously Nicholas Edwards was playing for Ipswich Knights, and he played a couple of seasons here at Thunder. So there was a little bit there, but no, look, not really. It was a hard fought game. It was a frustrating game for us. I don't know if you saw the stats, but I think we had 32 shots on goal in that game, 17 on target, and we still only won the game 3-2. I think they only had about eight or 9 shots. So it was a strange game. But as I said to you earlier, I think a lot of teams are starting to learn our style of play, and they're adjusting. And to Ivor's credit, he sort of picked that up at half time and changed our shape a little bit and how we played, and we got there in the end. So.
Thunder are, of course, 1 point on top of the ladder with Logan Lightning in second place. So plenty of work to do for both teams with only one team promoted. All right, Kris, you're up. Let's have a chat about the NPLW. And it's a great timing for us to have this chat. The Thunder ladies had a win over, not just a win over Capalaba, who were the hot team of the competition.
We were over the moon. To be fair, for a team like us to beat, I can't count how many, but they've got quite a few raw players, an ex-international in their team. For us to beat them, they said, I overheard one of them say, "Oh, they won a sheep station." Yeah. For us, I think we did, and we won it from the team on the top of the ladder. We're really excited with that. In saying that, though, I do news things like win news and whatever, and I'm sick of saying that we're 60 to 70 minute team. We can beat anyone. It's just a matter of putting the mind to it, and they're getting there step by step. So it's really good stepping stone for next season. I think if we continue to grow and go forward, we've got some fantastic players, absolutely fantastic players, and some of the ones below. Are they in awe of these fantastic players, or are they just not confident that they're as good as them? They are as good as them, but just comes down to their mindset, I think.
Thunder currently in 10th place on the ladder. However, you're going to Mitchelton this weekend, and with a win there, you can jump them and move up a place.
We can. After the game, we all went to the pub and had a beer and everything. And I was really excited because I thought we'd already jumped them. And then when I looked at the ladder, they beat, I can't remember who they played. So yeah, they beat East. So there's another turn up. It was a round full of shocks. Yeah, we can beat them. Absolutely. And then I think we have Raw the following week. So to be fair, we could really jump up the ladder. But again, our mindset, we gave the Lions. Now they're a class above everyone, in my opinion. We gave Lion a shock. We gave the Gold Coast a shock. We drew with Easts. We beat Capalaba. So there's your top 5 teams who we're absolutely competitive with. And to be fair, we probably should have taken a few more points out of them. The lower teams we seem to struggle a little bit with. So this will be a really good challenge for us to prove that we can beat the lower teams or the teams around us, and we should be where we feel we deserve to be, which, we can go forward.
Very good. All right, let's move on now to the Football Brisbane competition. And of course, Willowburn FC have taken their place in Capital 3 this season, and they're making a pretty decent fist of it. And they took on the top team on the weekend in Narangba, who have been smashing absolutely everyone. Now, I'm pretty sure I checked in the scores at some point, and Narangba were winning, and I thought, oh yeah, here we go. And then it ended up 3-3.
Yeah, Willow scored a couple of late goals in that game. I think in about the 86th and the 90th minute or something to get back to 3-3. So they, I was just talking to their coach only a couple of weeks ago, and he said that they sort of didn't know what to expect at the start, and they had their own style of play they wanted to play, and that they learnt that they had to be a bit more flexible than that, and they think that they've got the hang of it now and what they need to do. And Narangba result in the weekend was a great one for them. So yeah, there's still obviously a chance of getting in there for the finals. It's going to be tough for them to finish on top now. I think with that draw, they probably needed to win all of their remaining games, but still a good result for the first year in. And of course, their reserves are on top of the table as well, so going very well.
Currently 9 points off the top of the table. This weekend, let's see who they're taking on. They're playing Toowoomba, who are one place above them on the ladder. So a win there, and will they jump them? They'll join them on an equal third place.
Yeah, I think they've got a game in hand too. Willow's had a game earlier in the year that was rained out. They've still got to catch up, so it does give them a bit of a chance. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of good teams, and then I watched the highlights from the Springfield game on the weekend. They had a player playing for them that we've spoken to a little bit about maybe joining the Thunder a couple of seasons ago, Declan Murphy, their goalkeeper, and I think Springfield ended up winning that game 6-0. They looked a pretty good side as well.
Very good. All right. We were going to have Gerard Olchen with us tonight, who is, of course, president of Willowburn, but unavailable. Last minute scratching. So two gentlemen here are filling in for us on the rest of these competitions. Now, what we want to drill down deep on is the TFL competition. Now, the people watching this in Brisbane won't know much about these teams. So tell us a little bit about the TFL competition first, and then we'll have a look at the fixtures.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about the men's, and maybe Kris can talk about the women. So in the men's comp this year, there's 9 teams in the Premier men's comp. Not normally only 8 teams. Earlier this year, with the COVID affecting football right around the globe, the Stanthorpe Football District decided to can their competition. So the clubs in Stanthorpe, the 4 clubs in Stanthorpe, got together and formed a combined team from Stanthorpe and approached the TFL about entering that team in. So they were given permission, so that it brought it up to 9. And that team from Stanthorpe's actually gone really well. They're currently sitting second on the table, and with a game in hand, if they win that game, they can be on top. They were on top after the first round and have made the President's Cup, where they'll play Willowburn later in the season. Yeah, and it's been a great competition this year. I think there's only 4 points difference between the top 5 sides, so it's been really even, and even some of the sides that aren't in that top 5 can win on any given day.
So who are the traditional big teams in the competition?
Well, Willowburn have obviously been the team to beat for the last, as long as I've been here, last 10 years or so. And but obviously this year with Willows taking 2 teams into the Capital 3 League in Brisbane, that's kind of brought them back to the pack. So they're still up there in 4th place at the moment. And they play the top place team in Rockville this weekend. So that's a big game coming up. I think St Albans are currently in 5th place, but to me, I think they're going to be the team to beat. They've got a couple of young players that have played for Thunder for the last few years. Just due to work commitments, they couldn't play for us this year, and they went back to local. So Dan Webber, I think, scored 16 goals in 11 games for St Albans. And he was one of our leading goal scorers last year and the year before that. So that's kind of the team that I'll be watching out with. They're actually playing Stanthorpe this weekend as well. So another game to watch.
What's the pitch quality like for these clubs?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I mean, obviously with the COVID break, the fields didn't get the normal use that they had right through that winter period, which normally does damage them quite a bit. So most of the fields are looking in really good shape. I don't know if you watched any of the highlights from our game at Clyde-Berghofer Stadium on the weekend where the women played, but it was like a billiard table at the stadium. So we have got an impressive venue for the Thunder teams to play on. But most of the local fields are in pretty good condition.
Actually, just on that point, with the Thunder playing at Clyde-Berghofer, I know, I've been there, I've commentated there, and it's my favourite ground to work at. But the fact that you have to charge people admission to come and watch even the club games, the junior games. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we probably have to look back in history a little bit to give you the full story. So I'll try and do that very quickly. But obviously when the NPL started 8 years ago, 2012, or 2013 was the first season, one of the rules that was put in place was that zone representative teams couldn't put in a bid for a license in the NPL. It had to be a club team. of course, our JPL, as it was before the NPL, the Junior Premier League, were all representative teams from here in the Southwest. So we had to basically form a club from scratch when NPL started. So very late in 2012, we weren't given a lot of time. We had to put together we had to build a club, form a club, put together a license submission, and go from there. So we started as a club with nothing. We had no grounds, no form of income, no strip, no logo, no nothing. So I guess to meet the requirements of the license, obviously your first teams have to play at a suitable venue, and Clydeberg Office Stadium, as you've said, is, well, in my opinion, maybe it's a little biased, but it's the best in the league, including the NPL grounds. And so that we made a decision that we would go there. It's a government-owned ground, so we have to hire the venue to play there. It's not cheap, but we like it. Our players love playing there. So therefore, just to recoup some of that cost, we have to charge to watch games there. So that's the reason for it. We do have training grounds, but they're not up to the level to really play those top level games on. So that's the reason.
And to be fair, the change rooms, the ground. If it's raining, you've got cover. It is like Jason said, it's the best ground in I reckon in Queensland. There's one, maybe the Sunshine Coast is a good one too, but it's probably the best one. And $5 is cheaper than a cup of coffee. Sit comfortably and watch your kids, or watch a great game of football when the Thunder are leading, winning the comp. It's where I want to retire, watch good football.
I'm of the opinion that all NPL clubs should be charging admission to their games, but that's a discussion for another day. Let's get back to the TFL. So you mentioned Willowburn, Rockville as the match of the round this weekend. Who do you fancy?
Oh, it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go a draw. I think it'll be a pretty low-scoring game. Both teams have got pretty good defences. But if it comes down to experience, the Willowburn lads might just get across the line. They've got a couple of old stages there in Kevin Doyle and Benny Barracliff, who have both been Thunder players, and probably Kris and I play against them in over 35s. So, but they're playing in the Premier grade still. So if it comes down to the wire, maybe just Willowburn, but I think I'll go with a draw.
I'll go for Willowburn. I'll chuck it out there and say Willowburn.
All right. St Albans are also playing Stanthorpe United. That's another top four clash. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I'm going to go against Jason. I know who he's going to call, but I'm going to say Stanthorpe.
Yeah, look, my heart says Stanthorpe. It'd be great to see the team that's been cobbled together and stepping up a level. It's kind of equivalent to Thunder when we came into the NPL, right? Yeah. So be good to see them win. But look, I just think St Albans will have a little bit too much firepower for them up front, and they'll get home there.
All right, and rounding out the weekend, USQFC are taking on Hawks. West Wanderers are playing the Gatton Redbacks, and Highfields have the bye. All right, let's move over to the ladies' side of the competition. Now, this is a 6-team competition, Kris.
Yes, it is 6 teams. You've got Willowburn and Highfields are the two teams leading the competition. Rockville and Hawks are 7 and 8 points behind. And West Wanderers and USQ take up the tail end of the ladder. The Willowburn team has always been and Rockville have always been the two main teams in that competition. Highfields have put together a pretty good team this year. Some really good young players. I think that Highfields will probably, in my opinion, will probably take out the competition. Although it's, we've got some older or some young girls who have played for Thunder before, playing in both teams. There's Annika Spiller she's from Stanthorpe, who comes up and plays good football. Nina Grant, who's Anthony Grant in the Thunder team's sister. They both play for Highfields. And in Willowburn, we've got Courtney Morris and Chandel Robinson, who started off the season with the Our Ladies Thunder team. So, there's some good players playing out there. And, I've seen a couple of games and it's all been pretty high quality. So it's looking good. It's looking good for us because a lot of the young girls who are playing there are good players, and gain a bit of experience in the local league. Hopefully, we can pick a couple of those ones up like we did this year.
How do you go recruiting players from this competition into the Thunder? Are they willing to take the step up, or do you have to do a little bit of convincing and chat to the parents and let them know that travelling every second weekend to all parts of southeast Queensland is a good thing?
It's really difficult. It is really difficult to get players. Our under 18 is really the hardest one traditionally to fill, because it's a school age, boyfriends, work, everything just changes for them. So the local competition is really good for us because they can go back and play there and continue to develop, and then hopefully they can become good enough to play in our local team. But most of the team, actually all of them virtually, are local players. Our goalkeeper comes from Tenterfield. Louise Ralph comes from sorry, Louise, I forgot where you come from.
Stanthorpe.
Armidale. So
originally,
yeah. So we've got some country girls, which is really good. Rachel Cox has come back from the local league to play with us this year. Now she played with Stephanie Latham in the state teams, who's the Capella captain. So she's been really good, and I know on the weekend she really enjoyed playing against Steph. We had a bit of a chat about that, and it was good for her to play against her again. So we've got one player now who is the Singaporean captain, which is Nani, and she's really starting to pick up and come into her own. She was team of the week this week. She's a centre back. So really, we've got Maddie Lockwood, who's just come from the under 18s team, and she's been through the whole junior system. So we get most of our players are local players. Getting them from the TFL, we've got a couple this year with Rachel and Ebony. She's come into it as well. But it's really hard to get them to come into the competition and to be of that standard straight away, because it's really quick. It's very quick, the NPL.
So, Darren, one of the things we did implement along with Football Queensland Southwest last year, and we've been talking about it for a little while, but last year was the first time it came to fruition. We actually had an All-Stars game. So at the end of the season last year, the Thunder men's team played a selection of the best men's players from the local league, and the Thunder women's team played a selection of the best players from the local women's league. And that game in itself, I think, was the sole reason that we got so many of the senior players. So juniors have never been too much of a problem because it gives them the pathway to go through. But we actually had senior players from the local comps want to play for Thunder this year. So if you look at Brodie Welsh in the men's, he was Willowburn's captain for the last, I don't know how many years, and been the leading goal scorer in the comp in Toowoomba. He's now second on the goal scoring list in the FQPL, playing for us in our men's team. And as Kris has just said, player like Ebony Kidd, who I think she scored 50 goals from centre back last year for Willowburn in the locals. She's now playing centre back or right back for us in our Thunder team. So that All Stars game really brought the local clubs and the Thunder together and made all the players realise that, hey, maybe I could play at that next level and want to give it a go. So, and I think that's just going to keep building now that they've seen how successful those players have been.
What a simple but effective idea, hey?
Yeah, it is. It worked. We're going to struggle this year, though. I think we struggle this year, but hopefully we can look at it as a pre-season game. The season with COVID it's just going to finish too late. So yeah, hopefully we'll get that as a pre-season game leading into next year.
Sure. With Willowburn joining the Football Brisbane competition and that extra tier within the pathway, what difference do you see that making?
I think it's been an excellent initiative by Willowburn, and it actually does now fill a little bit of a gap for a lot of players going from locals up into Thunder. If you're over 18 and you haven't gone through the juniors, it's nearly too big a gap. I think Willowburn having those teams, certainly from the men's side, now allows those players that aren't quite there to maybe step up to that level and then either bridge the gap to come up, or if they're not quite good enough to make Thunder, it still gives them a competitive level to play at rather than coming back to locals. So it's fitted in quite well, and Look, we get along and watch Willows when they play at home. A lot of the Thunder boys do, and a lot of the Willowburn team comes along and supports Thunder when we're at home. So they're always the rowdy crew in the grandstand that you hear. So so it's been a great initiative.
Excellent. All right, that's probably it for this week, gentlemen. But just before we go, with the local clubs, have you got a specific ground that you really enjoy or dislike going to, and what are your reasons? This is a question without notice, I might add. So these two may be umming and ahhing for quite some time. But I'll throw it to you, gentlemen.
Clive Burghoff Stadium is the best stadium in Australia, so that's my favourite.
Right.
And the best time to watch it is when our Thunder men and women and the kids are playing there. That's we got an awesome ground announcer in Jason. He's unbelievably good at it. To be fair, I think I like West Wanderers is pretty good. It's got a bit of a hill. It's easy to watch. There's a nice bar you can sit there and watch if you feel like having a drink or something there. I think probably West Wanderers with Nellie Robinson reserve.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm once again probably a little biased. I was on the committee and coached at West Wanderers for a while, but it's probably my favourite local ground. And the one we don't like going to, I'd probably say, even though it's a really good pitch, Gatton, just because it's down the bottom of the hill and it's always hot down there. And I don't know, it's a bit hostile. The crowd down there get behind their locals, so it's probably the toughest one for local teams to go down and play at.
I'll sit on the fence with that. I think they're all good. They're better than the Brisbane ones.
Jason Hall and Kris Hemmerling, thank you so much for your time this evening. Hopefully we'll have you back next week, and we'll fill in that fourth spot, and we can talk all things TFL and Southwest Queensland football. Gentlemen, thank you for your time, and this has been the Look Finance SEQFC Preview Show, but thanks to Vilic Law.